The Roosevelt Dime is one of the most iconic pieces of American coinage, carrying a legacy of history, honor, and craftsmanship that has stood the test of time since its introduction in 1946, replacing the beloved Mercury dime that had circulated for nearly 3 decades. This coin was created as a heartfelt tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II reshaped the United States. But more than that, Roosevelt's personal connection to the March of Dimes organization, founded to fight polio, a disease that had personally affected him, made it only fitting that his portrait would appear on the nation's 10-cent piece. The Roosevelt Dime not only honors a historic leader but also symbolizes America's fight against adversity and its triumph through unity and innovation. Measuring 17.9 millimeters in diameter and weighing 2.268 grams, the coin's compact size hides a remarkable amount of detail and artistic design. It was designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, who crafted both the obverse and reverse, ensuring that the coin would be elegant, simple, and instantly recognizable. On the obverse, Roosevelt's left-facing bust dominates the design, with the word Liberty inscribed along the left edge, the national motto "In God We Trust" positioned just below his chin, and the date appearing to the right. Below Roosevelt's neck truncation, you can find the designer's initials, JS, which, interestingly, once sparked rumors that the letters were a secret tribute to Joseph Stalin, a false claim that circulated during the post-war years but was quickly debunked by the Mint. Turning to the reverse side, the Roosevelt Dime presents a stunning and balanced design. At the center stands a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, representing peace, and an oak branch on the right, representing strength and independence. Together, these elements encapsulate the American ideals that Roosevelt himself fought for. Around the periphery, you'll see the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, and one dime. From 1946 through 1964, Roosevelt dimes were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them both a precious metal value and a bright, beautiful luster that collectors adore. Each silver dime from that era contains about 0.07234 troy ounces of silver, meaning even in today's market, their melt value alone often exceeds 10 cents. But of course, for coin collectors, the true value lies not just in the silver content but in the rarity, condition, and historical significance of specific mint years and eras. Production began in 1946 at 3 major U.S. mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The 1946 S and 1946 D issues are among the most sought after from the early years, especially in pristine uncirculated grades. However, collectors often focus on certain key dates and varieties that stand out for their rarity and striking characteristics. One of the most famous among these is the 1949 S Roosevelt Dime, which had a lower mintage compared to other years, just over 13.5 million pieces, making it one of the scarcer early dates in high-grade condition. Another standout year is 1950, especially the 1950 S Dime, where fully struck examples with sharp details and full torch bands, known as full bands or FB, command a premium. The term full bands refers to the horizontal lines across the torch on the reverse. When both sets of bands are fully separated and clear, it indicates an exceptional strike quality. These FB coins are highly sought after by serious numismatists, as they demonstrate that the coin was struck with fresh dies and precise pressure. The 1955 Roosevelt Dime also deserves special mention. Known for its lower mintage of around 12.8 million, and high-grade examples with full bands can sell for hundreds of dollars. But as we move forward in the timeline, one of the most historically important years for this series is 1965, when the U.S. Mint made a major shift, transitioning the dime's composition from silver to a clad composition of copper and nickel due to rising silver prices and the coin shortages of the early 1960s. From 1965 onward, Roosevelt dimes have been composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, eliminating the intrinsic silver value but ensuring continued mass production at a lower cost. Interestingly, this transition led to one of the most famous minting mistakes in modern U.S. coinage, the 1965 silver dime error, where a few coins were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets intended for 1964 issues. These error dimes are extremely rare and highly valuable today, often selling for thousands of dollars depending on their condition. Collectors should also keep an eye out for the 1968 No S proof dime, a spectacular and accidental rarity. In 1968, proof coins began including the S mint mark from San Francisco, but a small number of proof dimes were struck without the mint mark, resulting in the no S error. Only a few dozen of these are known to exist, and in pristine proof condition, one of these dimes can easily fetch $15,000 to $25,000 at auction. Similarly, the 1970 no-S proof dime and 1983 no-S proof dime are also valuable mistakes that occurred when dies without mint marks were used accidentally. These proof errors are among the most sought after in the modern series, as they blend rarity with a fascinating backstory of minting oversight. Moving further into modern times, collectors still find excitement in Roosevelt Dimes from the 1990s and 2000s due to their condition rarity in perfect grades. For example, a 1996 Roosevelt Dime was struck at the West Point Mint to celebrate the series' 50th anniversary. A special collector-only release included in uncirculated sets. This coin bears the unique W mint mark and was never released into circulation, making it a must-have for serious dime collectors. Even though over 1.4 million were minted, it remains a popular key date due to its special status and limited availability. In addition to key dates and mint mark varieties, the Roosevelt Dime series also has fascinating die varieties and mint errors that add spice to any collection. For example, double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and clipped planchets are all errors that can bring surprising value to ordinary-looking coins. A well-known example is the 1964 D double die reverse, where some coins show a clear doubling on the inscriptions United States of America and 1 dime. Such double die varieties can sell from hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on their sharpness and grade. High-grade Roosevelt dimes are often slabbed and certified by major grading services like PCGS and NGC, with the full bands designation being a major determining factor in premium value. For instance, a 1956 D Roosevelt dime with full bands in MS68 condition once sold for over $19,000, and another example of a 1950 SFB dime fetched close to $25,000 at auction. Even a coin as common as a 1963 D dime can become valuable if it's in near-perfect condition with a blazing luster and full torch detail. The Roosevelt dime continues to be struck today, with billions produced over the decades, yet it remains one of the most collected and recognizable coins in U.S. history. Despite its small size and low denomination, its historical significance, beautiful. The Roosevelt Dime's legacy didn't end with its introduction in 1946. In fact, what followed was an incredible journey of artistic precision, minting evolution, and a series of fascinating mistakes that turned ordinary 10-cent pieces into treasures worth thousands of dollars. After World War II, America was entering a new age of progress and innovation, and the Roosevelt Dime evolved right alongside it. But what really makes this coin special isn't just its design or history. It's the rare varieties and hidden errors that transform an everyday dime into a collector's dream. For anyone passionate about coin hunting or numismatics, the Roosevelt Dime offers an entire universe of discoveries, with some specimens fetching mind-blowing prices at auctions. Let's dive deep into the rarities that make the Roosevelt Dime one of the most exciting coins in U.S. history. Among the earliest and most famous of these treasures is the 1949 S. Roosevelt Dime, a coin often referred to as the first key date of the series. Though its mintage was around 13.5 million, many of those coins went straight into circulation and suffered heavy wear, making mint-state examples with strong details and full bands exceptionally rare today. A 1949 S dime graded MS68 full bands by PCGS once sold for over $25,000, setting a record that stunned collectors. Another standout is the 1950 S dime, especially in full bands condition, because the striking quality at San Francisco that year was inconsistent. Finding one with sharp horizontal lines across the torch is like discovering a gem. These coins regularly sell for $10,000 to $20,000, depending on their grade and luster. The 1955 Roosevelt Dime also sits high on collectors' lists. Although not the lowest mintage, its limited production and scarcity in top grades make it a valuable piece of 1950s coinage history. The 1955 S-proof dime, struck in San Francisco before proof production shifted to Philadelphia, holds special appeal for those collecting proof-only issues. Proofs are made using highly polished dies and specially prepared planchets, resulting in mirror-like finishes and razor-sharp details. Early proof Roosevelt dimes, especially those from 1950 to 1964, are highly collectible today, some with cameo or deep cameo contrasts, frosted designs against mirror fields, that dramatically increase their desirability and value. Then came 1965, a turning point in U.S. coinage. With silver prices soaring, the government decided to remove silver from dimes and quarters, switching to the copper-nickel clad composition that's still used today. However, during this chaotic transition, a few 1965 dimes were accidentally struck on 1964 silver planchets, creating one of the most valuable Roosevelt dime errors in existence. These 1965 silver dimes are exceedingly rare. Fewer than a couple dozen confirmed examples are known, and each one can sell for $7,000 to over $10,000, depending on condition. The easiest way to identify one is by weight. Silver dimes weigh about 2.50 grams, while clad dimes weigh 2.27 grams. If you ever find a 1965 dime that feels just slightly heavier, it might be worth sending it for authentication. You could be holding a treasure. Another legendary rarity is the 1968 No S proof dime, a small but spectacular mistake. When the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins for collectors, each proof should have had an S mint mark. But a few dies accidentally omitted the mark, resulting in the No S error. Only about 12 known examples exist, and one sold for nearly $47,000 at auction. Similar No S proof errors occurred again in 1970, 1975, and 1983, with the 1975 No S dime being the rarest of them all. Only 2 examples are known, both discovered in proof sets. These 2 coins are considered among the most valuable modern dimes in existence, with estimated values reaching $500,000 to $600,000 each. These kinds of proof errors capture the imagination of collectors because they combine precision minting with human error, creating pieces that shouldn't exist, yet do. The 1996 Roosevelt Dime also holds a special place in history. It was issued to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the coin's design and marked the first time a W mint mark appeared on a dime, representing the West Point Mint. Unlike most coins, it wasn't released into general circulation but was included only in special uncirculated sets. With just 1.457 million pieces struck, it remains a collector favorite, not rare enough to be worth thousands, but essential for completing a full Roosevelt dime set. Error collectors also prize the Roosevelt Dime series for its incredible range of striking mistakes. Some examples include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the planchet wasn't properly aligned under the dies, broad strikes, which appear wider and flatter than normal due to the absence of a restraining collar, and clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing because the blank was cut from the metal sheet too close to the previous punch. Then there are the double dies, perhaps the most thrilling of all, where the coin's lettering or design appears slightly doubled due to die misalignment during manufacture. One of the most well-known examples is the 1964 D double die reverse, showing clear doubling on the words United States of America and 1 dime. High-grade examples of this error have sold for over $2,000. Even seemingly ordinary Roosevelt dimes from the 1980s and 1990s can carry unexpected surprises. For instance, some 1982p and 1983p dimes, struck during years when mint sets were not produced, are quite scarce in high-grade uncirculated condition. That's because most were used in daily transactions and very few survived in pristine state. As a result, finding a flawless 1983p dime with full bands in MS-68 can net several $100s or more. The same applies to early 2000s dimes, where coins graded a perfect MS-70, meaning absolutely no flaws even under magnification, can bring astonishing premiums. In recent years, Roosevelt dimes have continued to appear in collector sets and proof issues, many of which display stunning finishes. Modern proofs struck at the San Francisco Mint feature mirror-like fields and frosted designs that showcase the timeless artistry of John R. Sinek's work. The Mint has even released special silver proof sets, bringing back the 90% silver composition that collectors love. These modern silver proofs, while not rare, pay homage to the coin's original design and remind us of the era when every dime carried real silver value. Beyond their monetary worth, Roosevelt dimes hold deep symbolic and cultural significance. They represent an era when America united against disease and hardship, standing behind a leader who inspired hope and action. Franklin Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes continues to this day. The charity he inspired still helps children and families around the world. That's why, for many collectors, the Roosevelt dime isn't just a piece of metal. It's a story of human resilience, compassion, and progress. It's fascinating how such a small coin can embody such powerful history, from honoring a president who overcame personal struggle, to marking the end of silver coinage, to producing some of the most extraordinary mint errors in numismatic history. Thanks for watching.